Rob owns 1/4 of the stock in a local company. His sister Talia owns 1/9 as much stock as Rob. What part of the stock is owned by neither Rob nor Talia? Okay, so how are we going to do this? Rob owns 1/4 of the stock in a local company. So we better take it slow. So what's their actual question? What part of the stock is owned by neither Rob nor Talia? All right, well, I'm going to let T be the total stock. T for total. You could use X, but it's kind of easier to use meaningful letters. T is the total stock. So then I need to write a formula for how much Rob. Rob owns 1/4 of the stock. So 1/4 times T, right? Because of is times, is what Rob owns. So there's Rob's portion of the stock. Okay, and then what about his sister Talia? She owns 1/9. Talia owns 1/9 as much as Rob. 1/9 times Rob's numbers. In fact, it might be easier for you. I kind of changed up the color there. Does that make sense what I did there? I just took 1/9 times Rob's amount, because that's what the words say up there. Talia owns 1/9 of Rob's amount. So I took 1/9 times 1/4 T. So in other words, 1/36 is what Talia owns, right? I just multiplied those together. So Talia owns 1/36 of the stock, doesn't she? Rob owns 1/4 of the stock in the company. And the question put to us is, what part of the stock is owned by neither Rob nor Talia? Well, let's find Rob plus Talia. So Rob is 1/4 of the stock. Talia is 1/36 of the stock, right? So let's add those together to find the total amount that Rob and Talia together own. So how am I going to add those two together? What do I have to do?
You have to find the common denominator.
Yeah, we got to have common denominator, don't we? So we're going to have to multiply top and bottom by 9 to make the two denominators the same, right? Yeah, you know about fractions. We had that whole unit on fractions. To add fractions, you got to have common denominators. Yeah. So then that will become 9/36t plus 1/36t. So that adds up to be 10/36t. But then we can also reduce that. We always reduce fractions when we can. By top and bottom by 2. Use your calculator if you need to. 5/18 t. So no, what is that? That's Rob plus Talia. So I just added together the amount of stock that Rob owns, 1/4 of the total stock, the amount of stock that Talia owns, 1/36 of the total stock. Common denominator, got 10/36, reduce the fraction, 5/18. So together, Rob and Talia added up, they own 5/18 of times the total stock in the company. Now, what do they want? What's the question again? The question is, what part of the stock is owned by neither Rob nor Talia? So how am I going to do that? You know what we could do is we could do the pie thing again. We could say, well, a little pie thing. Oh, that was my freehand without the graphic tool. There we go. So it's probably, let me try it again. All right, so let's say that 5/18 right here. Five-eighteenths T owned by Rob and his sister Talia. So then this is, over here is the part owned, not owned by Rob and Talia. The rest of the pie is not owned by Rob and Talia, right? They own 5/18, which is a chunk of the pie. So what is the part not owned by Rob and Talia? Do you see I can take the whole pie, 18/18, that's one whole pie, minus 5/18 equal 13/18. So really we never even needed the T. Yeah, we never, you could just forget about the T. We never even needed the T. I probably shouldn't have even used it. It did nothing, right? It's just all fractions, isn't it? We don't even need the T. We don't even know what the total amount is. We don't even care. It's just all about the fractions. And we just say if Rob and Talia together own 5/18, yeah, I should just get rid of all these T's. The T's did literally nothing. I'm just used to using a letter. And I suppose you are too. But it did nothing. All we had to do was the fractions. Messing up, erasing too much. Yeah, all we had to do was the fractions. The T actually did nothing. I'm just so used to using a letter all the time. But it was completely unneeded on this problem to use the letter. You see that? It was all the fractions. So really we just added up the fraction for Rob and the fraction for Talia, the 1/4 and the 1/36. Just add those up. And in the end, we got 10/36 right here. So here, let me finish erasing. My pen was dying. My pencil was dying for a second there. Here we go. So yeah, all these T's are just not even needed at all. It's just a fraction problem. That's all it is. Don't need the T's at all. There we go. All right, no more T's. Got rid of them. So I think I got rid of them all. Yeah, it looks like it. All right, so again, running over this problem, 1/4 is the part Rob owns. 1/9 times 1/4, because Talia owns 1/9 as much as Rob. That's 1/36 is Talia. Add the 1/4 and the 1/36, common denominator. Get 10/36. Reduce the fraction right here when I divided top and bottom by 2. There we go, 5/18. So 5/18 is the amount owned by Rob and Talia. So then if you just take one whole pie, 1 is the same as 18/18 minus the part owned by Rob and Talia. 13/18 is the part not owned by Rob or Talia. And that's what they want on this question, is just the fraction not owned by Rob or Talia. There we go.